welcome to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? We give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with...
Elizabeth Helly.
And...
Motorcycle Tyler Hyman.
Sorry, we can't, we can't stop the outside world from getting in.
It's
some
the stunt
days.
show at Pirates Cove.
Dun, 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 dun.
Or Pirates Lair.
Yeah.
Or
this is a real question I have.
Free Willy 4, The Escape from Pirates Cove.
Yeah. No,
Which is what
there's
we're
no
talking about.
the.
Oh, it's just Escape from Pirates
Yeah.
Cove? Oh, okay.
Escape from New York. Free Willy 4, Escape from Pirates Cove. That's what we're talking about on our last and final Whale Wednesday.
For now.
For now.
Actually, probably forever.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. For good reason, I think.
Yeah.
Anyways, this one took us all the way to 2010 and stars Bindi Irwin as our
Jessie.
Lovely, our new Jessie. And here she is now.
Flight 458 from Sydney is now arriving.
Kira. Hi, you're Kira, right? I'm not your grandfather, but he sent me to come pick you up. Welcome to South Africa. Your new home. So what do you think?
The last thing Kira wanted was to spend the summer with her grandfather.
I'm not much into hugs and all that nonsense.
I really want to go home.
Come on, I'll show you around. Kids come from miles around to see this place. So what do you think? Pretty amazing, huh?
Wow.
But she's about to discover
Storm coming.
she's not the only one
It's an orca.
who's miles from home.
How did he get in here? He must have washed over this wall.
Oh, yes, kids were rich.
He belongs in the wild.
I'll call the Marine Rescue people, but in the meantime, I'm going to let people take a look at him.
Not too many people.
He washed over the wall. I can't even do the voice right.
She has a very, very thick accent, but at least it's real.
No, totally.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great.
Just like the premise of her having to go live in South Africa because her dad broke his arm, I guess.
Oh my God, that was hilarious. So within like the first 3 minutes of this movie, her dad has broken his arm. His dumbass dad, her dumbass dad has broken his arm so bad, he apparently has to stay in the hospital for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, is that a thing?
No.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Was
was
it
like,
just his arm?
It seemed like, well, I don't
Because
know.
the thing fell like on his organs, like it fell on his torso. The
And
big,
it looked like it was pinned up. It wasn't just like a regular cast. He was wearing
Sure.
It looked like he was getting some pins and stuff.
Yeah, maybe he was internally bleeding.
He's so fragile.
But like they
This is the
established
secret
that
pickle
he's
to
like
glass.
that he's a vet and that she knows a lot about animals. They establish all that in the beginning, and then the dad like takes this fall and he's falling off this ladder, and I'm like, oh my God, are they really gonna like
Kill
have
him?
her dad be dead in
That's
the movie?
that's what I
And
thought was going to
like,
happen, too. I was like, oh
no.
my God.
But he's not. But her mom is dead.
Yeah.
Famous dead mother trope. So
You know how ABC Family helps children work through their trauma.
The only person who could make me love again isn't a person at all. It's a whale.
It's a Willy.
But it's like
so weird.
she has to go away for 6 weeks and there's no one to take care of her. And he's like, what about Aunt so-and-so? And she's like, no, her dog eats all my stuff. And then there was like some other relative that was unsuitable. And so the solution is to send her to South Africa from Australia to live with the estranged grandfather that she's never met and that the dad probably doesn't like or have really any relationship with.
Right.
Yeah, who didn't even go to his own daughter's funeral.
Right.
Yeah.
Beau Bridges, ladies and gentlemen.
Emmy Award winner.
Why don't you scream your way through this movie? He's so loud.
That is true. He didn't go to his daughter's funeral.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. We learned that later on.
Yeah.
But before that, we get a couple just lovely musical choices
Oh,
that
boy.
are just so obvious. I was like, what's happening here? So she has to get on a plane, and as soon as she's on the plane, the music's like, up, and away, we're flying to another place, go up, and away. And then the very next scene is like the introduction to Beau Bridges' character, and he's in a bar playing poker with some guys. And apparently the bartender was like, yeah, I got the perfect song for this. We got to pump up these guys. Here we go. Hit and play. Winning is the name of the game. You gotta win. That's how you play it. It's like I was just like shaking my head, like, what is happening?
Playing cards.
It's seriously like winning is the name of the. I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
Which I'm pretty sure the game was poker.
Exactly.
I believe the band that sang that song was called Horizontal Ladies because I was watching with the captions, and so it's a Horizontal Ladies song begins playing, and I was
This is a
"Ugh."
family film.
Do you think that they thought that name was going to be fun because they put it on their dressing room and they'd be like, "Hey, horizontal ladies, this is your door."
It was just so funny because it was like the type of song. Okay, first of all, the Up, Up, and Away song. It's not playing in the plane, okay? It makes a little bit more sense.
You don't know what
it's
airline she's flying. It could be like a Hawaiian Air
like
thing.
It's like scoring the scene. This song sounds like it's scoring the scene, but actually, as you move into the scene, you hear it's playing in the bar.
That's right.
It's like, who hit play on the poker song on the jukebox? I don't know. Too funny.
Yeah. So... I mean, we see that she's Australian. She makes it to South Africa pretty quickly. And we haven't found out how big of a piece of shit Beau Bridges is just yet, but we're getting a pretty good indication.
He doesn't even pick her up from the airport.
Yeah.
He sends his manservant, Mansa, poor guy.
Well, and he said, and Mansa covers for him by saying that he's doing an important business deal, which is just him playing poker with, I guess, the other theme park owners in South Africa.
Theme park owners, a poker game.
Gentlemen's club.
This was hilarious. I'm watching. I started watching this movie while I was still on PlayStation with a friend of ours who is from South Africa, and I'm like describing. I was like, "Oh man, hey, this movie takes place in South Africa." As we're like moving along, and I'm like describing like what's going on. Like, oh yeah, they're driving past some kids, playing soccer now, and then, oh no, it looks like they're by the ocean, and then I was like, oh, they're at a water park? And he's like, water park. I don't remember any water parks being around there.
There's got to be something.
Yeah, maybe not competing water parks.
Yeah.
Maybe there's one.
Maybe there's a CG water park in the distance with
it
like
was-
80 million roller coasters.
It was actually filmed in South Africa. So
But it looks like that they could have just gotten a bunch of carnival equipment and stolen it and set it up somewhere.
I'm pretty sure they used the same come film in South Africa credits that Tremors used.
Yeah.
There was one lady that I was convinced was actually in one of the Tremors but I think she was like either uncredited or it just wasn't the same lady because I
You're
was
probably
like,
right.
what?
It probably is.
Yeah.
Or she changed her screen name since
Oh,
then.
that's true.
So
Her AOL screen name.
So Beau Bridges' character Gus.
Grandpa Gus.
Gus Bridges.
Gus Bridges. He owns this water park, right? Or it's a theme park with a water slide. Let's not call it a water. Well, it's kind of a water
I would say
park.
it's an amusement park. Let's not forget that theme park is the term that was invented after Disneyland was created.
That's
Because
right.
it's a themed park.
Because before then there weren't themes.
No, they were amusement parks.
It's a family fun center.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
And I think
like the carousel and the swings are like man powered, like by an old man walking in a circle pulling a rope.
I love that. It's like, oh yeah, it's a little broken down, but whatever. But this whole thing leads us to one of the main questions of the film. Tyler alluded to it earlier.
Yes.
The movie's called Escape from Pirates Cove.
Yes.
But as far as I can tell in the movie, the place is called Pirates Lair?
Yeah, the park is called Pirate's Lair, but Willy is trapped in the cove of Pirate's
He's
Lair.
trapped in the lagoon.
They call it
lagoon,
don't they? Yeah, it's really weird.
No one ever says cove.
I was like,
So it's either escape from the pirate's lair lagoon.
I guess they were like, we
Cove.
maybe after the fact they were like, we can't call it Escape from the Pirate's Lair because how would a whale be in a lair? That doesn't really make sense. Like, I guess a whale could be in a cove, but we don't say, fuck it. Let's just call it Escape from Pirate's Cove. That makes more sense. Pirate's Lagoon doesn't sound right.
I guess the Pirate's Cove versus a Pirate's Lair, like that implies
Cave.
some kind of
like a headquarters.
action on the part of the pirates.
Right.
Whereas the Pirate's Cove, the whale could passively be there.
Yeah, it could just be named Pirate's Cove.
And
Yes.
shockingly, no pirates in this movie. No real pirates, just actor pirates.
Gus Bridges wants to be.
Gus Bridges.
And we have a big wooden pirate man entrance that you go in
Right.
between his legs to go into the park.
This
Yeah.
is the second pirate-themed amusement park that we've covered here on Sequel Rights. Do you guys remember the first one?
The first one. No, my
I remember the carnival from problem child. Not
It's the second pirate theme one is Taka Tanaka's mini golf.
Oh,
yeah!
I totally forgot about that. I mean, it's almost the same
which
place.
Taka was running a much smoother operation
Yeah.
than Bo Bridges.
Oh man. Well, yeah, he's Japanese.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, please.
Bo Bridge is basically just totally wasting the main water feature of an actual ocean.
Yes.
It's not really doing much at all.
Bo Bridges, the less famous brother of Leon Bridges.
That's right. We have a couple fun, workers at the pirate's lair. We've got Mansa, who introduces us to a brand new type of harmonica. You got to have some way to call the whales, right?
Sure.
And we learned that
At first, he tries two different parts of a screwdrivers playing like drumsticks. That doesn't work.
yeah, no.
What about maracas? No.
It turns out they
No
have
whales.
They have this like whale collar.
horn.
Yeah, kelp horn. Yep.
It's like dried kelp that his people used to use back in the day to call the whales. But he doesn't know how to play it.
He's no good at it.
I did appreciate the fact that this movie took the time to establish that Bindi was forced to play the tuba by her middle school band director and thus knew how to buzz and like create the right embouchure to like play the kelp horn. Instead of just having her pick it up and be naturally good at the kelp horn, they're like, no, let's show her playing the tuba. And also her horrible tuba playing is what caused her dad to fall.
Showing the tuba
not really.
cause an injury.
Yeah.
And there's this whole
As it does.
There's a whole like interview with the tuba teacher on the special features, which I
Seriously?
thought was, like a little mini interview, like
Because she actually had to learn?
Yeah, there was actually like a tuba teacher there teaching her how to play.
What was the tuba teacher's name?
I don't remember. Tuba Tom.
Tuba Steve?
Tuba Tom. Alliterations only. Tuba Steve.
But yeah, she's much better at playing the kelp horn than Mansa is. But the employees and apparently child slave labor of this park, these people are like salt of the earth, like super good people helping this piece of crap old white guy keep this park afloat. Like
South Africa.
Yeah, they'll like they're like so nice. They're like, okay, we're gonna be like a family to Bindi because her grandpa sucks, and we're gonna like keep the park going and like all the like keep up the livelihood for this guy, and they're so nice.
Yeah, we've got Mansa and Sifiso, who is the young boy.
Yeah, he's about the same age as Kira, which is Bindi's name, by the way, if we didn't say that already.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming these people are getting paid, but who knows?
Yeah, who? No, I mean,
they don't go into that.
Maybe they
detail.
just get to squat there.
But yeah,
for
maybe
free.
it's like.
I mean, it's really not even like Sifiso's like helping. It's straight up. He's like, go clean this now. Go fix this now. Like it's like his employee for real. I mean, maybe the child labor laws. Maybe you're allowed to have a summer job when you're like 12. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not totally crazy.
Well, it's like what Jesse was doing in the first movie. Maybe he just like
That's
happened
true,
to
but that
pound
was his
place
community service for
Right, but
juvenile
not-
crime.
Not at first, at first, sorry, but then he turned it into a job.
He committed the crime on the job.
Yeah. So somewhere in here, we get introduced to our lovely family of CG whales. There's so many CG whales in this movie.
There's a lot of them. I guess you have to appreciate that by making them CG, you can now have like a very impressively sized pod.
That's right.
Like there's like 30 whales in this pod.
And they can get tossed around by the ocean and all sorts of fun
Right,
stuff.
as happens to whales, because waves bother them a lot.
I know.
Especially out in the middle of the open ocean.
So, yeah, very quickly, there is a giant storm that separates a young orca from his family. He goes
Yet to
chasing
be
after-
named.
Yeah. That's why I said a young orca. Goes chasing after some fish, and then suddenly he's like, whoa, where am I? And then
put on the spin cycle.
yeah. And then apparently he gets washed over like a large amount of rocks.
Well, if the tide comes up,
Barrier.
and then,
Yeah, I suppose.
the storm.
Into
And there's
the lagoon.
nothing that large underwater mammals like more than stagnant water.
Yeah. I had a lot of questions about this lagoon. I couldn't tell how deep it was.
Yes.
Sometimes it seemed like,
Sometimes you could stand up in it.
yeah, Gus was just like, I'm going for a swim and then standing up in the center. And then sometimes I'm like, there's a giant whale in there.
I guess it depends on the time of day and the season and the moon and the tides. And you just can't explain that. But.
And the cats in the cradle and the silver spoon.
By the way, we forgot to talk about the part where Beau Bridges forces Mantza to dress up in a tribal costume and like do this show. And he's like, yeah, your people, the sand people. And Mantza's like, no, you idiot, it's the sand people. The sand people were from Star Wars. Like, I was like, what? It was like such a weird pop culture reference in this movie. It's like really the only time that any of the employees stand up to him, but he's like, the sand people were from Star Wars.
Yeah, we're not like Tusken Raiders.
Okay.
Yeah, friggin' idiot.
I love that.
That was a funny line.
They usually move single file to hide their numbers.
Terrible.
Far too precise. Anyway.
So they wake up and there's a fucking whale in their lagoon.
A CG whale.
A CG whale. Sometimes
puppet.
Yeah, sometimes puppet. That never comes too far out of the water.
The puppet is like...
It looks bad.
I just want like my resume to be like this thing, and sometimes puppet.
It looks bad, but in some ways it's like more expressive because they weren't trying as hard to make it real, so the eyes are like
it's a
much
cartoon
bigger.
character.
Yeah, it's like a cartoon. Like so it's more like a puppet, really.
But it was like you could tell that its head would only go up so far and it could like not fully come out of the water sometimes.
Yeah.
Like when she's talking to it and I'm like, dude can't hear you. His head is all the way underwater.
Yes. But I think they did, like, for some reason, whoever made this, like, put a lot more attention in, like, the muscles and, like, the eyes and, like, the way that the face moved. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
It was all right.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I took a photo of the bad whale just to describe it, but I didn't. It's just really, it's not... Oh,
it just doesn't have as much movement. I feel like
I had a real problem with the CG in this movie, guys. It was really
it's not great. It's a low budget.
It's really bad. They look like not even like plastic. It just looks.
It's like there's a lot of like hard things to do, and fluids and underwater motion is one of them.
So many fluids.
Yeah, so many fluids, and none of it looks like this whale has all of like 8 points of articulation.
I don't think that there's no real whale or whale footage at all in this one.
There's actually a twist ending in the credits.
What?
It lists Bob Talbot as a wildlife cinematographer.
I was wondering about that.
So I don't know.
What did he film?
There is some footage at the like towards the very end. There's footage maybe even at the very beginning. Like there's a couple shots of real whales that almost look like they could be just shots from the old movies.
Oh, okay. Or maybe he helped direct the people that animated this CG.
Or he just has a whole library of stock footage.
Yeah, yeah. It's like after we stop having to see the whales underwater, then it shows some of the real whales for a split second at the end.
Yeah. So immediately, Bindi doesn't want to stay here because her grandfather's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And when he comes, like, oh, I'm so sorry I couldn't meet you. He's obviously drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And he's driven from his nefarious. Like, do you think there's like a theme park poker game here? Do you think there's like a Knott's Berry Farm guy and like a Walt Disney guy?
Oh, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Like a Six Flags guy.
Sure.
Well, okay, yeah, I could get into it, but
she's like, I know.
Matt Ouimet, who is the president of Knott's, used to be the president of Disneyland.
Okay.
Just Disneyland, not Disneyland Resort.
Yeah.
And now he's at Knott's, and then the president of Disneyland is like another. Like, well, yes, this could feasibly happen because they technically all knew each other.
They all kind of like move around.
Yeah, I don't
so
know who
it's
the
like
president of Six Flags is, but yeah.
Bugs Bunny. And so they all meet on a yacht somewhere and they play Baccarat.
There's a thing in Newsies, like in the Newsies musical, also where it's like a poker game where you have like Pulitzer and Hearst and the owner of the Sun and the owner of the whatever, and they're all there together.
I'm sure this has happened.
Yes, and the theme park mecca of South Africa.
Yep,
is no exception. And so what Beau Bridges does to get back into the train of thought that I interrupted myself of Beau Bridges starts to put away a half-finished puzzle in a box and say, I've gotten you a gift, which is pretty up there in terms of bullshit moves.
It's a real shitty dad thing to do, or granddad.
Oh, he did have a lot of puzzles just kind of hanging around.
Yeah,
I like a good puzzle.
I have a feeling that puzzle didn't even have all the pieces.
Yeah.
That is frustrating.
You'd probably get to halfway through and you're like, fuck, where's the goddamn corner piece? Yeah.
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 Much like his theme park, they'll never be finished.
That's right.
His theme park will never be finished as long as there's imagination left in the world. Just like Disneyland.
There's a fun fact about. There's a fun fact about the theme park scenes. You see one of the early on one where we see like the carousel being operated by a dude, and you see people in the park. There's a kid that runs up and like starts sword fighting with Gus, and that kid is actually Bindi's brother,
Bobby,
yeah, Robert. Getting his first little movie
I
role.
don't know. In my mind, I was thinking that kid is actually Kid Rock.
Kid Rock. Kid Rock is Robert Irwin.
Yes.
But yeah,
That's exciting. Bindi Irwin makes some high-pitched whale noises that I found incredibly irritating in this movie.
well, yeah. In the first half of this movie, she's just like, "Get me out of here."
Yeah.
It's crazy though. Okay, well, obviously Bindi is a close personal friend of mine because we were once on a conference call together.
Okay.
But I actually did work on this project that she endorsed or whatever back in the day. And I also watched her on Dancing with the Stars or whatever. And the fact that she is playing a surly kind of annoyed, angry teenager in this part is actually really impressive because her real personality is 100% raring to go positivity at all times, and it's not fake. You think it's fake, it's just not fake. That's just how she is. She's always it's so if the real Bindi went to that theme park, she'd be like, oh, it's so great. It just needs a little fixing up. I'm so excited to be here. Oh, wow. This is so fun. And it's a real good time we're going to have. And this, the fact that she's is the fact, showing her acting ability.
That's hilarious. Because I felt the exact, I didn't know all that information. So I felt oh God, she's not really doing much in this first half of the movie where she's just annoyed and everything. And I feel like in her performance, she comes alive a lot more later when she, when Willy's there. And
for
she
sure.
starts to get excited and
but
doing
that's
more
what
stuff.
she's been doing her whole life. Since she
Right.
was even before her dad died, she was already doing Bindi Jungle Girl,
Right, she had the
TV
TV show,
shows and everything. The timeline is that Steve Irwin died in 2006 when she was 8 and Robert was 3, which is so sad and horrifying. This movie was filmed...
2010.
She was born in 1998. It was filmed in 2009, 2010. So she really is actually 11 or 12, she says in the movie.
Yeah. And this is her first movie, yeah.
Yes. And the death of the SeaWorld trainer, Don Branchow, happened in February of 2010, and this movie came out in March. Ooh. But everybody knows that nobody really paid attention to that death until 3 years later when the documentary came out. So I don't think that Bindi had to deal with any of the the backlash from that when the movie came out.
And there was also no whales in this movie.
Yes, exactly.
That's true.
But then in 2013, the movie came out in the beginning of the year, and then it was more the end of the year when it aired on CNN and got distribution, when a lot of people all of a sudden were we're mad now, even though this happened 4 years ago because I just saw the documentary last weekend, you know. And then it went on Netflix after that. But in 2014, sorry, I just dropped my pen. In 2014 is when Bindi endorsed SeaWorld as part of Generation Nature, which was the project that I was working on that was supposed to be her doing these little videos being if you recycle, it helps dolphins, and just super innocent, milquetoast stuff. But she just got savagely attacked because it happened to be right around the same time. And so I was doing social media, tangential to this project, so I was monitoring the tweets that were coming in about her. It's just horrible, the things that people said to her just because she was kids should help the environment, and people were your father would be ashamed of you and blah 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 and this and that. And her own grandfather came out against her because he's a really radical wildlife activist. He goes around on ships trying to attack whalers or whatever. He's hardcore. But he even spoke out against her and everything. And so So I have like all this knowledge and I'm just watching this movie and I'm like, I feel so bad for her. Like, I don't say what you will about her child actorness or whatever, but I thought she was really good. Even like there's a lot of scenes where she's like crying and she's really upset and you just like, oh man, her dad's dead in real life. Like that's all I can think about. And then like she's just crying and I'm like, oh my God. Like,
yeah. No, I thought she did a good job.
Yeah.
For what there is.
She's so likable. Like it's almost hard to hate her in my opinion. Like I know
except when she makes that excited noise.
Yeah,
really
she did do a really high-pitched sound. Yeah, that was like, what?
No.
No, that wasn't quite right.
I can't do it. I can't
So yeah, that's like the Bindi story. There's no like child star check-in is that she won Dancing with Stars a few years ago. She's engaged now to like a really good-looking guy, and her brother and her mom own the Australia Zoo, and they promote that. And she does nature specials and everything. And
she kidnaps orcas and makes them do tricks.
Yeah,
no. Oh no,
she does not. But yeah, she basically just had to like quietly back away from that SeaWorld thing because she really did nothing wrong.
Right.
And SeaWorld, like, they really messed up too, in my opinion. Like, it's PR 101 that you don't stay quiet. You control the story, right? And they just were like, well, we can't talk about it. We're so nervous. And they didn't do anything. And like, you know, Bindi got screwed over. The project I was working on eventually just kind of petered out and died. And like, they just never wanted to talk about it. I even messaged someone for this episode and said like, oh, come, like you worked with Bindi and we worked together on this project, like come on the podcast. And they were just like, no, I still can't talk about it. I'm like, this is why you guys failed and why you don't work for SeaWorld anymore because you got laid off. And like, this is why, you know, SeaWorld is like basically almost completely out of business at this point because they just wouldn't say anything.
Oh, God.
Like, anyways.
That's messed up. Well, we haven't quite breached this topic yet.
Yes.
But there are this is not in any way connected to the previous films.
No.
And you know, there's actually an opportunity in this movie where I was like, this would be cool if like maybe they had brought somebody back. Maybe if this movie was made a few years later, they would have been more about like bringing in some legacy actor.
Was August Schellenberg still alive in 2010? I think he was, yeah. Like, that would have been so cool if he had come and been like, oh, hey, like, I'm an expert.
He was at the poker game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so
I'm on the tail of some whalers.
Or, yeah, if Jesse had been like, oh, I have experience in this, let me come help you. I'm going to fly in from
he was alive till 2013. Yeah, because, so there's this whole point where, like, you know, Bindi Irwin's character Kira definitely, you know, doesn't want to just leave the whale there. Like she tries to hide it from him when it's first there because everyone knows that Gus is just going to try to use the whale to make money.
Right.
And so the whole time she's begging him to call the mammal rescue people, and he's always like, "Oh yeah, I left a message. They never came."
And he's like, "What? I did."
Yeah. And eventually she ends up getting a hold of the mammal rescue people. And they show up, and I was like, oh, man, that would have been a cool opportunity for it to be like Jesse.
Anyone.
Yeah, literally anyone. It could have been one of them.
It could have been the random person from the third movie.
Yeah.
It could have been Max. Could have been Max's dad, who now has a change of heart and works as rescue.
It could have been Weevil.
No. That would be hilarious. Instead, what happens, I think, is the worst mammal rescue people in the world.
Yeah.
They're basically like, oh yeah, looks like he's stuck. Well, I think we're gonna have to kill him. Their like first thought is like they're there for 2 seconds and they're like, yeah, I think we're gonna have to put her down.
Yeah, like
their whole thing is
it looks
that
like Willy
no
doesn't
other
have his
options.
echolocation, and he hasn't learned it, and the pod's not there to teach him. So if we release him, he's gonna die. So
if he stays in the lagoon, he's gonna die.
So we might as well just kill him now.
Yep, get it over with.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like so weird and funny in the movie, but it's like this is kind of like the paradigm of animal activists.
No,
it's like because like the PETA really hardcore people believe that it's better to just put them down than to let them suffer.
Right.
But, you know, other people probably like SeaWorld and whoever else would be like, well, no, this whale's here. Like, we should take care of it. We should do what we can. Like, you know, or whatnot. So, yeah, you have these two sides, and obviously they don't get into it really in the movie. But, like, the whale is friends with the little girl. You don't just come up and say, we're going to have to kill it. Sorry, sweetheart.
Yeah.
You know?
And on top of their recommendation to kill it, they're also like, no one's ever taught a whale to do echolocation. We don't know how. We don't know how to teach them. It's never been done. It's impossible. No one knows.
You're like, well, there was this one kid with a harmonica, but
no, they don't even say that. They're like, no, it's not. You can't do. Nobody knows how to do it.
They're not like, what do they have to lose at that point? Like, you might as well just try.
And they leave going, yeah, we should kill him, but we'll let you decide. We're gonna go.
Like, yeah,
2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minute montage later. Bindi Irwin knows how to teach a whale echolocation.
Right.
She Googles like how to teach
Echo the dolphin walkthrough.
It seems pretty crazy, but I mean, you constantly see stories like this. I mean, there's like the kid that helped with like the dolphin tail, those movies, or like you'll see some story about like, a Girl Scout invented a robot that helps blind people read, or like you see stuff like that all the time because sometimes kids just come at it from a different way, and they just somehow think of something that no one ever thought of. So yes, it's pretty crazy. But
don't even
also
try to
not
figure it out.
completely
It's
impossible.
JV basketball star invents perpetual motion machine.
We'll be back with the killing whale button when we return. Don't even try to figure out the echolocation. It's impossible. Bye.
I love the mammal people. Like the actual response is like, well, we can see if there's any PhDs or anything out there, any graduate programs. We'll reach out to the Oceanographic Institute, wherever, see if anybody's working on this. Not even that. Like, it's just like, no, dead. We should kill this whale. I have a knife. I got a knife in the car.
And it took me like a few scenes. I was like, wait, they just said they were going to just kill it?
Like, I've always wanted to fight a whale underwater ever since I saw Free Willy 3.
Also, like, is that even legal? Like, I mean, maybe it's based on country, but
it
still.
It probably is based on country.
Yikes.
They probably don't have the resources to necessarily help it as much. But
I feel like, okay, what happened? I mean, by the end of the movie, we get the whale on the other side, and it doesn't seem like it takes that much work.
No.
And honestly,
also,
like, wouldn't you want to just try to let it go?
By 2010, they could have had an Indiegogo.
Wouldn't it be better to try to let it go?
Yeah, because the pod could find it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just crazy.
Like, what are you just going to be like, nope, murder.
Yeah.
Murder it.
Murder it.
Hey, I hear whale meat is $200 a pound.
That is the tie-in. That's actually they weren't from the whale people
They
at
were
all.
secret whalers.
Yeah.
Could be like
Randolph was hot on their trail.
It could even be like an ugly duckling situation where the whale is adopted by like a group of dolphins and thinks that it's the fat, ugly one. But at least they teach it how to echolocate, and then he finds his real family.
That would be amazing.
That's going to be Free Willy 5. P.S. I just wrote it.
And the whale's going to talk the entire movie.
Why am I like you?
Oh, I'm so fat.
Slow down, guys. Yeah.
Stop having sex for pleasure.
Stop getting high on blowfish. I saw that article this week.
To be a whale.
They keep the whale, I guess. And she decides to call it Willy. I mean, I know she keeps it.
Yeah. I really wish she had been like, let me call it Willy after that one kid I heard about that saved a whale. Or even like, let's name it after those movies. Like, make it like in universe or whatever. But nope, she's just like, how about Willy?
A random name I pulled out of nowhere.
Which kind of caused me to think, like, is Free Willy the original one, like, named after Willy the whale that wanted to sing at the Met? Like, do you know that Disney short? And it's a famous short story. No. It's this whale that wants to sing opera, but he ends up getting killed.
What kills him?
The evil opera guy.
The Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
You know what? I haven't seen that part of the play.
But maybe you guys don't know this short. Like the evil opera guy thinks that the whale ate an opera singer, and so he kills him. But it's really just that the whale was a really good singer.
Oh, because he doesn't think the whale.
I wouldn't be surprised because isn't this kind of like a Disney? Oh no, it's not a Disney movie.
No, but this is like a really, really old Disney short, like way back in the day. But anyways, I think it was a famous short story before that. But anyways, whatever. So maybe it is not related at all.
I love that there's a conversation later in the movie where I think his name is, what is his name? Ralph? No, that's the actor's name. His name's Rolf. Rolf?
Oh, Rolf. Yeah, how dare his name sully the name of the great Muppet Rolf, who is my favorite Muppet.
Muppet pianist.
By the way, his park is called Wonder World, but they keep saying Wanda World, and I thought it was just the accent.
It says Wanda World.
That's what I'm saying. When they were saying it, I was like, oh, that's just their accent, but the sign literally says Wanda, like Wonda World.
Willy Wanda.
Willy Wanda.
There's a scene later in the movie where he's trying to, get Rolf, the other owner of the other park, is trying to get Gus to sell him Willy, and he's like, why'd you have to call him Willy? Seriously? Like what? Like, come on.
You know what?
It's a weird name.
One thing that's true about all of these movies, and it's the only thing that's consistent throughout them, is that it is very quick to get whale-themed merchandise and branding up in your park. It can happen with a simple cut. It is in the next scene.
You just pull up the Oriental Trading Company catalog and order whatever the hell you need to order. Yeah, it shows up.
Yeah. That was pretty impressive for that park to have that stuff. They're making whale money real fast.
That's right. And so fast that Rolf wants to spend $500,000 to buy the whale.
A lot. But hey, I mean, I don't know why he would spend that much money because his park already looks way better anyways. Like, this other park is like so shitty and you probably get tetanus just looking at it. Like, why would you?
The other park is so good that like even Bindi's like, wow, that looks pretty awesome. And it's like a CGI off in the distance.
If only I could get closer to it. It keeps getting further away as I move closer.
Wow, Rolf's patented that Mirage technology.
But yeah, it looks like a full-fledged park with like a Ferris wheel and multiple water slides.
Multiple roller coasters.
Yeah, like a real park.
Yeah.
But he really wants to buy this whale.
Right.
Yeah.
Even at one point, Bo Bridges is like, why don't you just buy another whale? You said you could do it. And he's like, no, I want this one.
I want Willy. I need Willy. That's pretty much what he sounds like.
Yeah, that's what he says.
I want Willy. His introduction scene, he like pulls up in this like convertible, like, hey, what's going on? He's such a dickbag.
There's a point where he admits to attempting to murder his wife, which is just like an aside. He's just like, well, how? Oh no, his wife had tried to murder him.
Yeah, and he.
I don't remember this.
One of them tried to murder. Well, no, because his plan becomes, I'm going to poison Willy. With antifreeze, and then he's gonna water it down, and then there's like his two like bumbling henchmen are like, well, how do you know it's not gonna kill him? I think he says, because my wife tried this on me.
Yeah,
that's right.
At some point he says like, over my mother's dead body, I will not go back. And the other guy comes out after, is like, wow,
that's fucked up.
That's messed up. You said that about your mother. He's like, you haven't met my mother, bro.
I thought he said. Okay, is that what he said? Because I thought he said, I never met my mother.
No, I thought he said,
that's what I thought. I was like, oh shit,
mom.
he's an orphan too.
No.
He's Jesse.
I thought he was like, I never met my mother.
No, I thought
I didn't know my mother.
I thought it was like, no, you don't know my mom. She
well,
deserves it.
I think either way it works.
Yikes.
I mean, if it's a Free Willy movie, it's somebody shaming someone about.
Gotta be an orphan.
It's like, surprise, I'm an orphan.
Well, Bindi's mom has passed, and she has her little.
But she's not an orphan.
But no, she's not an orphan.
I mean, her dad might not make it.
Oh God,
he's in the hospital for 6
There's a few B plots running through this movie. One is
specifically
Bo
about
Bridges.
bees.
Yeah, Bo Bridges' gambling problem, and at some point they have like a heartfelt conversation while Bindi's like doing research on the internet, but then he like decides to spill his guts to her, and he's like basically talks about how his wife left him because he gambled away all their money, and then he never even bothered to contact the daughter. Then years later, the daughter did get in touch with him to try and repair their relationship, lent him a bunch of money. He bought the theme park and then gambled the rest away, and the theme park fell into shambles. And then he was so ashamed that he didn't even go to her funeral, and he didn't even have enough money to go to their funeral. So, and
what
Bindi,
a sad story.
It's like Bindi is so like adult about it while he's telling her this story. Like he gets all embarrassed and he'll like kind of stop, and she'll be like, "You gambled it, didn't you?" You know, and he's like, "Yes."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like she calls him out several times. It's just really good. Like, you were ashamed, weren't you? Yeah. Yes.
I bet Rolf I could finish all these puzzles before he could, and I didn't finish one of them.
I'm just slow.
So yeah, there's that. There's also the storyline that Sifiso, the little kid, is a good singer. And what do kids love more than opera
So
music in
stupid.
the public domain? Habanero is his favorite song. And like, not only is that the only song he knows how to sing, but there's a point where they're riding a bike through the the savannah, and like that's the song that they're like
So
rocking
stupid.
out to.
Yeah.
Like even Bindi is also. She's like on board with this, and they're like,
The song is playing in the movie. Yeah.
Well, that's the song that the whale wanted to sing at.
maybe
I was
he
gonna say
probably
Carnegie-
does sing it in
Carnegie
there.
Hall, but it wasn't Carnegie Hall.
I have to watch that short, and if it actually does
That would
have
be
that
crazy.
song and it's a reference, then I'm impressed.
Yeah. That would be fun.
Or it's pure coincidence.
Yeah.
Just like Rolf is a model airplane builder. They all have very like old man hobbies. Like Rolf's building model airplanes. Bo Bridges is doing puzzles.
Yeah.
Also, Sifiso keeps trying to teach her like a little dance, and she is so bad at it. And I'm like, wow, she won Dancing with the Stars later. Now I'm really impressed with
Yeah.
how far she's come.
There's a point where just like a little beat comes in.
Yeah,
And
they're-
then everyone starts
Gus
dancing.
is like, "Hey, you guys have work to do. Go paint those houses."
Yeah.
And then it turns into a dance montage.
People start to feel the rhythm.
It's like do 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 do, and they're like, instead of just painting the house like normal, they're like painting like flowers and stuff on it. And
Yeah.
he's just like, he looks at him and he's like, "They don't fucking know how to paint, do they?" What was I thinking? I mean, he doesn't say that, but you could see it on his face.
So at some point, Grandpa Gus double crosses her, sells the whale to Rolf, and Rolf's going to come the next day to pick it up. And she finds out because, Rolf put up a billboard before the thing was even signed.
Again,
So
or you can make Willy merchandise at the ready.
That was a fast
immediately.
billboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's coming back from Sifiso's house on the bike, and they see the billboard, and they're like, "What the f?" Like, what? And they like drive up to Bo Bridges, and she starts yelling at him, and he's like telling her like, "Look, like Rolf promised me he's gonna be taken care of. They're bringing in the best trainer from San Diego. Like, he's gonna be totally taken care of. Have food.
His
friends,
name is
and-
Jesse. They could have
Yeah.
done that. What
Yeah.
are you doing?
And then he's like, he's gonna be taken care of, and she's crying, and she's like, but who's gonna love him? And I'm just like, oh, that was sad.
Nobody.
And at this point, he's already tried to poison him, right? Like, she could
Yeah.
have just been like, he just tried to kill him.
Yeah.
The bumbling idiots try to poison him in the night.
Yeah, but then Willy fights them off with his not so great, but developing echolocation.
Yeah.
He can't eat a fish, but
Well, we get it wouldn't be a Free Willy movie without someone jumping in the water with their clothes on.
yes. And we get two full-grown men doing that.
Yeah,
this time.
and also Bindi does it at one point, but she does switch to a wetsuit.
She
which
does,
I appreciate.
which was very practical. No one has ever done that in the history
But
of these movies.
I think the first time she jumps in with Willy, it's with all her
well,
clothes.
sadly, Willy pulls her into the water
Oh,
by
that's
her
right.
hand, and I was like, "Oh, that's
that's right.
exactly like the thing from Blackfish."
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
but, oh well.
yeah, scary.
But then she does get to ride him.
yeah.
yes.
Not quite like a horse though.
Yeah,
she
not
doesn't go. She doesn't go full yeehaw.
It's more realistic where she's just holding onto the fin like what a real trainer would have
Yeah.
done instead of Jesse just like standing up there like
He's like, "Let me put my leg over your
back.
Even though that's really hard to do underwater.
I need to get an IMDb account so I can just leave a comment like, this movie is fine, but it doesn't go full yeehaw with the whale.
Really missing that.
And then leave it to the internet to sort it out.
Yeah. Trivia.
It doesn't go full yeehaw. But it doesn't.
But yeah, she has the power to teach Willy echolocation, and we get some great scenes of CG whales chasing fish.
With blindfolds on.
Yes, that was amazing. And then she's like, "Oh my god, you did it!" And pulls the blindfold off. Yeah,
You know he can blindfold a whale.
that was so weird. It was like this rubber band around his
Yeah.
face.
Yeah,
put
like
it over his
blindfold.
eyes. Yeah.
At some point, like Bo Bridges has a change of heart, and then they're gonna try and steal Willy because she sees the pod.
Bo Bridges drives out and has a moment in front of this billboard. And he's like, and then he sits in his car and he's like besides himself.
I know I was connivingly planning to sell Willy But
now that I
wait
see this
until after my
billboard.
daughter or my granddaughter's gone, so it looks like I didn't sell him.
At some point, her and Safiso steal a pickup truck from the animal preserve and drive it, even though they're both very petite.
Yeah.
And they're driving it, and the way they get past the guard is basically just by like putting a hat on and being like,
And looking
we're
down.
adults, yeah. And they drive through the gate, and she's like, it worked, yeah, high five. And Safiso has both hands on the wheel, and he looks like horrified. He's just like, I need both hands, I can't high five you. It's pretty crazy. And they get the whale on the pickup, just like in the original movie.
This moment is where I finally was like, this movie let me down.
Yeah.
Because the Cove is set up in such a way where, like, they could do the Free Willy jump.
Yes.
Right. And, like, I thought, like, for sure that's what it was building up to.
Me
I mean,
too.
It's a full CG whale. Like, who cares? It'll be CG, and I can laugh, and it'll be funny. But no, it never happens. I think there's, like, an early on line where they're like, oh, the barrier is too wide or something.
Right.
Like he couldn't even get back out.
Like very rocky.
Yeah. But there's even a scene where she's like out standing on it that looks very similar to how it looks in Free Willy, the original one.
Like, I got excited, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, they're going to do the jump.
Yeah.
Like, I was so, like, excited. And then, but no, they put it on a truck, and then a boat, and then they're, like, there for hours in the sun, and Willy's just, like, dying on the boat, and they're like, well, we can't release him until the pod comes. And at some point, someone says, like, well, what if we just put him in the water for now and see if the pod comes? They're like, no, we got to leave him on this boat dying.
So stupid.
And
It's just like false. It's just like false stakes.
I
For
haven't
no
checked
reason.
this, but I believe it's warmer in South Africa than it is in coastal Oregon.
Oh yeah, you're not gonna fall in the water and freeze to death immediately.
Well, no, I just meant that the whale would die much faster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's just like sponge bathing him.
Yeah.
But they put the whale back.
But it's sad that both kids are weeping, and the whale is just, like, slowly dying.
Yeah,
and it's
like,
like, oh, God.
But also, meanwhile, Rolf has to go invest. Like, he's going to tear up the check, and all this stuff's going to happen. But they run an elaborate ruse where they've taken the 18th hole from their mini golf course.
That's so stupid.
Which is an animatronic, terrifying prehistoric dolphin, I think.
Yeah.
It looks horrifying.
It's shooting water out of his blowhole, and he's
Yeah.
like, no, that's how it's supposed to be. No, don't worry about it. He's sick or something.
Yeah.
Rolf falls for it for way too long.
It basically has to like explode. It doesn't explode, but like the blowhole thing malfunctions, and then you can see that it's like got the rivets in its back or whatever.
And he's like, I want to buy this for $250,000.
Yeah, it looks good to me.
Even better.
Yeah, but I don't know. They put the whale back as they should have from the start.
They put
We
the
had to
whale
watch
back.
a whole movie.
They put the whale back in the ocean. The genie goes back in the bottle, and the Free Willy series comes to an end.
What if they were just like, you know what? I think you're right. The best thing is to kill him. And good boy. Time to go to the ocean.
Get my whaling gun.
Yeah. I know just the guy.
They call it
John
Max.
Wesley.
John Wesley.
An old pal of mine used to be a whaler. Bring him in.
His father was a whaler.
His grandfather was really
If the cameo in this movie was John Wesley, Patrick Kilpatrick, that would have been amazing.
Totally. Yeah, eventually they put him in the water, the pod comes, they all go off together.
CG together.
Bindi,
and
of course, like, has to get into the water to say goodbye, and she's crying, and it's very sad, and
Yeah. The end.
And then she says she's going to come back in the summers to visit her grandpa and everybody, and
But then he dies of alcohol poisoning. Very sad.
In an unexpected epilogue to the film, we learned that he had to scrap the theme park for parts.
And her father, now healed, not being privy to any of these adventures, does not pay to go to his funeral.
Yeah. She never sees the ocean again.
Yeah.
Did you have a child star check-in
I
for
do.
Safiso?
Sia Bulela Ramba.
Mm-hmm.
He was in 24, I guess.
Oh, wow.
The reboot one with
Oh, the new
not
one?
not the new one. The like it had
The
Kiefer
movie
Sutherland, but it was the movie one. I think.
movie, yeah.
And then he is now like a brand strategist, kind of influencer guy, but he's in like a running team, and they like go around and run half marathons and stuff, like sponsored by Puma, and he's been sponsored by all these alcohol companies, and he does those like influencer posts, and he has very, very professional, fancy model looking photos on his Instagram. So he seems to be doing well.
So he's not still singing.
He might be.
Oh.
It says he's an actor, brand strat, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember if it said singer or
He
not.
probably sings.
I don't know. I felt like him and Bindi actually had kind of like a nice rapport in this. It left me kind of wondering, like, I wonder if they like stayed friends or like, you know, because they had good like little kid friend chemistry.
They could have come back and made another one and had them like, grown up a little bit more grown up and rescuing another whale or the same one.
Yeah, except for all of this crap that happened with the outside world.
The whale gets back to the pod and it's like, he's like, I know echolocation now. And then it turns out that like she taught him wrong, so it's still all fucked up.
And he's like, you know what else I know? How to gamble.
You got that human stench on you. Get out of here. You're not my son.
Prison Willy.
You're not my son. Dad, it's me.
It's like she taught him echolocation, but he can like only turn left, like Zoolander or something like that. Like he can't turn to the right.
She only taught me to sense golf balls in the lagoon so I could help them find the missing mini golf balls.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy. Well, this is the so far final movie in the series.
Wait, Justin, you got to talk about the credits.
What happened in the credits?
The wonderful music song.
Oh, I blocked it out of my
Really?
mind.
Bindi has a
that's
song
right.
in the credits.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's right. Bindi sings a song. I assumed it was her the entire time, and then it's confirmed when you get to the end of the credits.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, I had the caption. So it was like, Bindi Irwin sings blah, blah, blah. And I was like, ooh. It's very, very sappy. Like
it's like the most basic child pop song.
Yeah, it's very auto-tuned. But she actually did... She hasn't done anything in the last like 3 years, but she continued to like release albums. She has like a little girl group that's called like Bindi and the Jungle Girls or something. I'm sure it all sounds like very kids poppy, but
yeah,
you know.
It was just very much like we're having fun in the South African
I'll always be
South.
there for you, blah blah blah. Like this, you know, very sappy.
Yeah.
But yes, end of the Free Willy franchise.
The end. Our final Whale Wednesday, you guys. So sad. So sad.
Before we get to our thoughts on Willy's legacy, do we have a rating system that we have for the Pirates Cove that we'd like to use? Oh, I know. How many patented Beau Bridges backslaps? Backhands, I'm sorry. Beau Bridges backhands.
I was like, when does he do that?
He literally backhands somebody. He slaps somebody in the face.
I don't even remember that. I thought you were going to say patented whale blindfolds.
We can do that.
I don't care.
Whale blindfolds.
Oh, also, when they steal that truck, the crane on the truck hits the like crotch of the wooden pirate. I was watching this, and one of my housemates was sitting with me for a little bit. She was like, "Well, that's a joke for the parents."
Yeah, and then you see that it says "arg."
Yeah,
like he got hit.
They
in the
zoom
balls.
in on the face with the little speech bubble.
Oh, I forgot about that, man.
Anyways, yes. How many backhands?
Yeah, Beau Bridges backhands.
Oh, okay.
Beau Bridges backhands.
I'm gonna give this 4 Beau Bridges backhands.
Interesting.
I found it tedious, and the CG whales really bothered me.
Okay,
That's
well,
it.
I found it so tedious that I'm going to give it 2 Beau Bridges backhands. Because I was just like, yeah, I don't know. I was not. I thought Bindi Irwin was cute, and she's actually doing good work here for a child actor. But yeah,
there was not much for me here.
Yeah, I didn't like the new animatronic puppet. I didn't like the CG whales. I didn't like that there was no connection to the other films.
The competing theme park narrative.
Yeah, and it was just like, I don't know. There could have been a better... I don't know. Maybe the whole theme park thing was just a more childish way to like continue this, or more family-friendly way to continue the story, and not like have them be needing to film like out in the ocean or anything on a boat, that much.
Yeah.
Maybe that was part of all of that. But I just, it didn't really, like you said, I didn't really do anything for me.
Yeah.
I'm like totally opposite of this. I was gonna give it like a 6, like the same as Free Willy 3, pretty much for me. Damn. And I know like the production value is much less. Obviously, this is a direct-to-video, I believe. But I, you know, I'm like a super negative person, so it's really funny that I really like Bindi a lot because like she just won me over after all seeing her in these other things. And I just think she's really talented and really nice and cool. And like, I was surprised, like I said, the points where she was like mean or angry, I was like, what? You know, so like, and I like Beau Bridges. I mean, I said he was Emmy award winning, but he has an Emmy for this episode of Desperate Housewives that I really, really like, for a guest actor.
I mean, he's great.
Yeah.
Like, and he's acting in this movie.
Yeah, and it's a pretty
fine.
big name for a direct-to-video, little movie. But yeah, I mean, obviously I understand that it's like very low budget and doesn't have like the scope of the other movies, but I think it's like a perfectly nice movie for kids and girls, and for sure, it's just like kind of a fun little distraction.
I am neither of those things though, so
I know.
2
I
stars.
I understand there's like not much in it for us and even less for you,
Right.
but like I just think
and you have a personal connection with Bindi, and so that makes sense.
yeah, we're best friends from that one conference call. So
Is this the first franchise that I believe is going to be the same for everybody? Maybe it's not. That literally goes 1, 2, 3, 4.
No,
Okay.
not for me.
All right.
Yeah.
I got to put 3 before 2.
I think
I'm
I
gonna
have
go 1,
to
3,
also.
2, 4.
I might. I just hate Elvis so much. Like I almost want to put 2 last. But yeah, 3 was just so brazenly weird and like insane that I have to give it like points for that. But I like this. This one is what it is, and so like I would give it a 6 just for that. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
What's the subtitle for 2?
The Adventure Home.
Adventure Home. So you're going Free Willy regular.
Free Willy 0.
Yeah. Then you're going rescue. Then you're going adventure
Home.
Rescue adventure pirate.
Yes, correct.
0 rescue adventure pirate.
Yep, because Free Willy the beginning.
I would go with that order, but like I said, I am strongly tempted to put Bindi above Elvis.
Yeah.
Like, but I just, obviously the second one has all the original actors and stuff.
Michael Madsen's drinking coffee by that fire for the entire movie.
That's like one scene.
Really, no, it's multiple. It's like 3 scenes. It's there every time.
We already talked about how there's no Adventure Home. We don't know what's going. What home are they going to?
He was already free.
It's like, what's the point of this movie?
Yeah, but
Just leave him alone.
You think Jesse's gonna die because the Coast Guard's lazy?
Yeah, that's true. I liked it for the laughs, but the third one I thought had a more interesting plot.
No, I agree. I was like, what the fuck?
A more daring plot.
It really was. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, who greenlit this?
Would you watch another Free Willy movie if it came out?
I would.
Okay.
I definitely would. I don't know how they would do it with all the PR being what it is. Like, you'd have to tread so carefully that it might end up just being a complete piece of crap with nothing to say.
Jason Momoa owns a theme park and his daughter, but he's kind of near to well, and his daughter helps him bring it back online.
That would be funny. I'm honestly, this is a horrible thing to say, but I'm honestly interested now in how they do those Dolphin Tale movies, because those come out after this.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. Is it all CG dolphins? I have no idea.
Well,
there's 2 of them,
have
like you
a
said.
horrible feeling that we might find out someday.
Someday.
Yeah, and it just brings back the whole argument about, like, should anything be in captivity?
Right.
Like, it's like, the orcas, a lot of people believe they shouldn't just because they're so large. But then, like, for me, just in a logical way, I start like spiraling, and to the point where I'm like, well, are ant farms even, more morally sound?
Exactly.
Like I just can't separate.
Is this planet?
Yeah, exactly.
We're all trapped.
So like, I think a lot of people have less problem with dolphins because they are so much smaller and so much friendlier to people that they are like, whatever, the dolphins are happy in captivity.
I feel like that logic just still doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope, and I don't know
the
how
dolphins
they would
get
do
him
it.
stoned and let him fuck.
Yeah. When they're in the ocean, they just kind of go in a circle anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know.
And then at some point when there's enough plastic in the ocean, when is it better to put them in or clean tanks?
Oh, God.
Yeah, well, philosophy 104, my lowest grade in all of college. I barely passed.
Oh, man. Well,
Whale?
I'm going to miss celebrating Whale Wednesday with you guys.
But you can celebrate Whale Wednesday with us by, that was actually a little bit of a tongue twister, by reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. And if you give us 5 stars, give us your premise for the next Free Willy movie. What
Yes.
enclosed captured animal should a little boy save? Or lady? Or whale saving a boy from capitalism?
Yes, let's flip the narrative. I want to see Free Willy from the whale's perspective.
Yeah, he frees a boy from a supermax prison.
Where everything that the people say sound like whales, and the whales speak English.
Right.
Like a Peanuts situation.
Yeah.
Where you're like,
Yes. Yes. Same exact story, just from the whales.
okay. Sounds good. Please email us, sequelrights@gmail.com with your Free Willy comments and your suggestions for future franchises. And also find us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sequel Rights. Speaking of future franchises.
Yeah, we are working towards, starting next week, working towards a brand new sequel coming out later this year. We are kicking off the Rambo series.
John Rambo.
We're going all the way from First Blood to Last Blood.
And all the blood in the middle.
That's right. Every single blood. Blood the third, blood the fourth.
First blood, young blood.
Old blood, last blood. You know it's the last movie because it's Last Blood.
What
about dried blood?
Tonal shift.
Yeah, this is quite the difference. So if you are bringing your children... Well, okay, you probably shouldn't bring your children to listen to this anyways because we're swearing all over the place.
Right.
But if you were watching the family-friendly Free Willies along with us, maybe don't show your kids the next few.
Do you think that Rambo's going to try to fight a whale with a knife?
We can only hope. Save it for Rambo 7.
He's no John Wesley.
That's right.
That's right. He's John Rambo.
By the way, if you didn't listen all the way to the end of last episode, make sure you go back and do that because Justin surprised us with an amazing song. Or, we secretly unearthed John Wesley's single.
Yeah, it just knocked Old Town Road off the Billboard charts.
Yeah, he was signed to RCA back in the day.
Yeah.
So check it out. It's at the end of last week's episode if you missed it. But you might have missed this as well. But anyways, we'll see you guys.
We'll miss you.
Yeah, we'll miss you. We'll see you guys next week for First Blood.
Even